Good. Oh, there we go. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are.
Yes. What's today?
Thursday.
Okay, it's Thursday. Happy Thursday. Don't you ever have some of those weeks where all your days run together and
Yep,
you're
all
like,
the
what day of the
time.
week is it?
I
Thank
did that.
goodness.
What was it? The weekend before last, I missed an entire Saturday and Sunday. I thought that Saturday was Sunday, so I missed Go Live. And
Uh-huh.
I thought that Sunday was Monday. So I almost missed life study. Like if somebody hadn't called me, I'd have been like, Kevin, you ready to go? Oh, it's Sunday. God,
Right. It happens.
yeah,
It
it was
happens.
horrible.
If it wasn't for the kids' school,
Yep.
right? And then like my kiddos got off this Monday and the Monday after, so that's really gonna mess me up.
Yep.
He's
Yep.
got a
It's
three
it's
day
weird.
weekend. He
But
says, what for? I'm like, I don't know what for, but you're off. So that's all you should care about.
right.
But
But
yeah,
today we want to go over my favorite topic, you guys. We want to cover the internet vending machine because I really love it. And I think everybody should love it too. No.
oh my gosh, you're so funny.
But yeah, that's my favorite, like my favorite topic as it relates to what we do, because I am a firm believer that if you have multiple supporting characters inside of your business, then it runs smoothly. So I really like to just put that out there that people have the ability to have multiple income streams that all fit under the same umbrella. So the internet vending machine is like my favorite topic.
Yeah, and it really, think about again, almost all of you listening can relate to a vending machine, right? You see it, you're there at the gas station, or sometimes they're in the middle of the mall, right? And you can stop and grab a snack or whatever. And understanding that that vending machine owner is in the vending machine business, and but that he or she has all these different products inside, right? And that's how we operate our business. And one of the how did this come about, like initially? And I'll just, it's very quickly, like, how did we start, getting this fistful? Why am I going to add other income streams, and how can I do it without driving myself crazy, right? Trying to get on all these Zooms and do three-way calls, and because you don't, okay? But the reason it happened is because if you're a networker for any length of time, you have either had this experience or you've known someone in the industry who's had this experience, one of the two. Company had disappointed you. You were in it, you built it, you made whatever money you're going to make. You're super excited about it, put your heart, soul, tears, efforts, maybe missed a couple dinners with your family to do three-way calls, whatever. And the company disappointed you, whether it shut down. Well, sometimes they get shut down.
Yeah.
And sometimes they shut down because it's not, I mean, they're not scams. It just means it didn't cut it as a business, right? They're
Right.
still just businesses, right? Or we had like this happened more than once. We had a company decide they were going to go from an MLM model to a completely 100% direct sales model. MLM is a form of direct sales, but I'm seeing like cut out literally overnight, 90% of our check disappeared, right? When another company cut out a portion of the comp plan, the biggest part of your check, and decide they weren't going to pay that particular part of the comp plan anymore.
Wow.
Again, check gone down, right? So we finally got to the point where we're having this discussion, leadership and the team. We put so much time, effort, energy, blood, sweat, tears, literally sometimes, right?
Right.
Into our business. Why are we letting one company, one CEO, one board of directors, right, control
Like
our complete livelihood, and we don't have any say on how they run that business? And then the other thing is, we a lot of times it's like, well, I own my own business in network marketing. You really don't. Okay. You are an independent sales rep. You're not a business owner. So how can you correct that? You correct it by repping for several things so that now you are running this business. You are a rep for each of these, or a distributor, or whatever your company calls it. But one of the kind of fallacies inside of network marketing is like, oh, you own your own business. You do not own your own business in network marketing. You are a sales rep, a marketing arm for the company. They can kick you out. They can stop paying you. They can cut your pay. They control the product services. When you own your own business, you control all that stuff.
Yep.
Right. So when you have multiple income streams, it helps you have a better model of thinking of it as a business, the vending machine business, the internet vending machine business. And the reason we say internet, because almost everything we do is accessible on the internet now, right? Right. So, and I know Christina loves it because it makes sense to her to build multiple checks.
Yeah, because I went from being inside of the 9 to 5 space where I had hourly and I had commission. But part of one of the biggest reasons why I chose to get away from that was because when they changed the commission structure, it significantly changed my household income. And I just one of the quotes that I've heard is, if you give somebody the ability to feed you, you give them the ability to starve you as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be in that situation where I wake up and go to work one morning and everything is fine, and the next morning everything's like shot because I went from having income to not having income. Because like Chrissy was saying, we don't have control over what happens to businesses in business, right? Sometimes they wake up and they're not in business anymore as well. So I don't want to ever feel like, oh my goodness, now I have to figure out what to do in the next 30 seconds, I'd rather be like, okay, this one source is gone. Let's figure out what we're going to do to maybe bring 2 in to replace this until we can build one up bigger, I'd rather have a piece disappear as opposed to the whole pie. So I love this model for that.
It's funny because some, I don't want to, leaders or people who are big into building one company, one income stream, and they get into the culture of that particular company, let's just say, and it happens across the board. There's 2,000 plus network marketing companies out there.
Right.
What they get upset, you're talking negative. You're going to manifest the company going out of business. No, it's not a negative. It's a reality check of protecting your income. It's not like, oh, I'm rooting for it. It's going to happen. You're not trying to manifest it, but you're just preparing for it. And when you have, like she said, Christina just said it, you have a piece. So it's just like the vending machine in the middle of the mall. You've got, let's say you got drinks in there. You got candy and chips in there, and you've got gum in there or whatever. All of a sudden, nobody's buying Red Bull anymore. They were buying it, and now they're not. You're just gonna pull Red Bull out of the vending machine and put the newest, biggest craze of Monster right in there, if that's what's selling.
Right, as opposed to unplugging the whole machine,
Right, and your income didn't go away, right? It just went down a little because you had a slot filled with something that's not performing anymore. And that's the beauty of it. And then from a network marketing standpoint, the retention when you build this way is much higher when there is an issue. Because it's not just yourself,
right?
But if your team has multiple checks coming in, and one of them goes away, the majority of people are still staying on the team and building. We're just
right. They're like, okay, so what are we doing to fix this? As opposed to I have to find something by.
Right, exactly. Where the retention is much higher. There's always going to be a couple people like that was their favorite thing, and they're dated and they're going to leave, right? But the retention is much higher when you do have an issue. Right. And we do our very best to partner with companies and products and services that look like they have the potential, right? A high probability of being there for the long haul, but we certainly can't guarantee it to ourselves or to
exactly.
The team. Why do you think when you see startups will say, but we're backed by a 25-year-old veteran company? They say it because they know people are nervous, right, about getting involved in something that's new, but doesn't have longevity. But I've seen companies after 20 some years go away. However, at the same time, people say, is this one of those Amway things? I sure the heck hope so. Amway's been in business a long time. So yes, I hope that is exactly what it turns out to be, the longevity of Amway. They're like, well, they say it in a negative way. And then, I'm like, absolutely, I hope so.
Right. So, and that's the thing as well. A lot of people who are successful in network marketing have very diverse income portfolios. Like they don't have just that network marketing opportunity as their only source of income. Maybe what they've done is they've built up that source so that they could diversify. So they're like pro that one source. However, they don't have one source. They've invested in something else. They have something over here working for them in the background. So I personally think that it's very unfair for the higher up, larger chunks of leadership to be down on like us little guys when we're talking about building out multiple things, because like there's some people who I'm on multiple things with them, you know, and they don't even know I'm there, but I know where they are, you know. So I'm like, oh, I'll build that too. Seems like a good idea. And it fits, which is why they've done it. So I really like to keep the transparency for our community, and letting them know, like letting you guys know, like we don't just do one thing, we do multiple things. And here's how we put it together. Here's why we think it makes sense, right? As a good business model. Because I can't stand like secrets from mentors, can't stand it.
No, and you know, a lot of people use network marketing to then, you know, like people get involved in network marketing with the idea of I'm going to take this money and I'm going to reinvest it into buying like land and real estate and stuff. And so the higher up you get, the more if you dug into the leader's portfolio, they be diversified. What they don't want you to do is be in more than one MLM.
Right. And they just don't say that.
Right. That's really what it is. Like, well, we don't want you having multiple income streams. If you said you were buying real estate, they'd be fine with that. If you said you invest in the stock market, you'd be fine with that. But it's okay. It's not necessarily that it's right or wrong. There is I do agree, you know, what we're in alignment with is having one focus.
Right.
But one focus doesn't have to be one check.
Exactly. And that's where we're a little bit different, because we're singular focused, but that focus brings us multiple products and services that all fit into that focus that we have.
Right. I would rather have 10 $1,000 checks than one $10,000 check.
Exactly.
And something stops coming in, I got 9,000. Oh, two of them didn't kind of work out. Well, I still got $8,000 coming in. Right. And so that's where you also have to kind of think about, well, how, you know, if you, whatever you call it, promotions, ranks, this is different things in different companies.
Right.
Like what level are you at, or whatever they do call it in your company. Sometimes you have to kind of not worry about the titles, because you're like trying to work for your family to diversify your income. You may have more money coming in with your multiple income streams than that top ambassador at that rank in the one company you're in. It's just that you didn't get the title because you didn't rank up
in one place.
Right. Exactly. It's just interesting. So you focus on you and what makes sense to you. And if what we're saying makes sense to you, we've got the fast track system launching in the next few weeks. We're so close. And we are here to help you fix your business, to protect your income, diversify it. You work hard for you and your family. We want to help you do those things. If what we do makes sense to you. I know it doesn't make sense to everybody. So if you come through the information, and you're like, this doesn't make sense to me, we're cool with that too, right? We get that, right? Well, it's fine, right? So we're looking for people who see what we have. It makes perfect sense to them. And they're like, please pick me and mentor me, please, please, please. Right. And if you're like, oh, this doesn't make sense, it's cool. There are plenty of mentors who will, in your company, who will show you exactly how to build the one check.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
No problem. One check.
I mean, yeah. So this is one of my favorite topics for us, because I am very new to the space, but there are certain things that just make sense, especially if you can relate them to like things that have happened to you in the past. It's not 100% the same situation, but you can relate to having one job and losing one job, and then having to figure out what to do to replace that entire stream of income.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you had one job and a side hustle, Your side hustle was maybe 20-30% of your overall household income. Now that's all you have. So what did you do? Right? You thought about getting more income from another source. Sometimes people pick up two like lower paying jobs to make up the difference, but it made up the difference. And that's essentially what we're doing, as opposed to working 2 9 to 5s, right? Two lower income, lower paying jobs. We're like, let's just have a whole bunch of stuff that goes to the one thing that we're doing, and it covers all of the bases. Like I literally have one stream of income that just pays my cell phone bill. Like that's all it's there for. Like I have one personal treasure box that's here in my window. That box is specifically to pay my cell phone bill.
Think about having separate things, that checks that are coming in, and you're like, this check pays my cell phone bill. This one pays my car payment.
Exactly.
This one pays the mortgage. This one goes into vacation fund. This one's retirement fund. And actually having different sources for all your bills. I mean, it's wild when you think about it, because if you're not in this space or you're not building multiple income streams, you're like, how in the heck does that work? I have a lot of bank accounts, and my daughter's like, Mom, I don't know how you manage all those bank accounts. I said, I don't know how you only deal with one.
Right. Like I used to do that. I used to have all of my money go in at one place. And the one time they messed up something, I was screwed for 5 days. It's like, don't put yourself in a situation to only rely on one thing. Like you don't have one grocery store that you go to, and if they close, you can't buy groceries. Right. You know that there's 50 different grocery stores you can go to that meet your needs. Right. So what is it that you have in place that's going to be able to meet your needs if something else disappears, or at least keep you from falling flat on your face if everything disappears, right? So it's just that to me makes sense.
Yeah, and as a network marketer, if most network marketers come from the W-2 initially, job, workforce, and then end up in network marketing, and maybe you still work a job. So my husband still works a job. He doesn't have to, but it's like, this is not a good time for us to give up 6 figures of our income, because we're like pouring it into investments, right? So Brandon on our team, he likes to talk about how he uses his job to fund his investments as well. Like, you don't have to give up your job to do this stuff. I know someone who still was working their job, and they had $50,000 a month in income coming from even just one business, and they're still working their job. So, but what I was going to say was, when you move into entrepreneurial space, also with it, you want to start learning about financial literacy at the entrepreneurial level. Okay. And so companies or rich people, wealthy people who are real savvy, I promise you, they don't have one bank account, all their money goes in there.
Right.
They have the like, let's say if you're a realtor, for example, they've got, your check comes in for the house you sold, maybe you made $8,000 in profit. You put it in there, and then it's like a bucket. You now pay, maybe you're paying 30%, 25% goes into a different account to set aside for, oh my gosh, taxes, right? Yep. And so this account is to save for my quarterly taxes. Then they'll take another percentage. This one goes into my bank account that goes into investment funds. This one's going into this bank account because I'm building up to buy real estate. And it's buckets, right? Remember the old fashioned, like, people would have different envelopes in the house, and they would put the cash in it for groceries. That's what wealthy people do. They take the one bank account, and then they bucket it out and allocate it out. And those are different accounts that money goes into, because you leave it in one place. It's so easy to just spend it in the wrong way.
Yep. Yeah. Like, and I'm a shopaholic. So I literally just spent maybe 2 weeks going through the sources of income that I have, and then putting certain bills on auto pay on the cards that that money from that source goes to. So it's like, now I know, like, my cell phone bill, my internet bill, just different things. I know what card it's on. I know I don't have to worry about it, because this is what on average what's getting deposited over there. Like it, and that in itself is like so liberating.
Yes.
Like I don't have to worry about my car insurance because it's on auto pay on this card. And I know this card is from this stream of income.
Right.
So
And I know
monitor
this much money is on there every month.
exactly. Like, so monitor it and make sure that that stream of income is doing what it's doing. Right. And yeah, it's certain things that you can put in place using multiple streams of income that a lot of people just don't think about. I thought about this when I was first learning about money, like in my 20s, man, just imagine how much money you would save if you knew how to allocate your funds differently. Because the goal is to live like below the amount of money that you make. So
exactly. It doesn't matter how it actually, if you guys ever pay cash flow, we haven't had cash flow in this house for a long time. I don't know what happened to it. I moved too much. I lost it. But it's a Robert Kiyosaki board game. And I know lots of people get together and play cash flow, like my real estate group, a whole bunch of them who are local. They get together like once a month and they, at someone's house, and they play cash flow. And what it does is it teaches you that doesn't matter what income you start with. So you got, because some of it's just random. It's a board game, right? So if you're starting as a doctor and someone else is starting as an auto mechanic and someone else is starting as a teacher, you all have different salaries, right? But it showed by the end of the game, by the choices you make and some luck with the randomness of a board game, you can see that the person with the $20,000 salary can have a way higher cash flow than the doctor had, and he was making $250,000 a year in salary, because it shows it's about your choices that you do, so no matter what income you're at, you can do things with your money to allocate, because it's really like Christina said, do you have more money coming in than you're paying out?
Yep.
And whatever that level is. So if you're living like in the, $1 million home with a couple of cars and your income doesn't sustain that, that's the issue.
Right.
It's not that you're broke. It's that you're living above your means. If you want to have that, then do more stuff. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just
right.
It's nothing wrong with wanting those things. They get upset with people like, oh, they shouldn't want all that stuff. It's fine to want it. It's when you sit there and you charge it, and you go into debt, and you know what I mean, to have those things.
If your income doesn't exceed your bills, your expenses, then that's when it's a problem, right? If your income is not more, and I personally like for my income to be double what my bills are. Mm-hmm. That's where I know that's not, for me, that's not considered living below my means. That's at what my means are, right? Is because if half my income stops, I can still pay all my bills.
Right.
So I love that.
She and I are similar where we like to pay things way ahead.
Yep. I cannot stand monthly subscriptions. I like to pay the yearly ones.
Please give me a yearly subscription so I don't have to think about this for a year.
Right.
Some things don't have it. You're like, come on already. It's like, you don't even have to give me a discount. Just let me pay for the year. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, let me just give you the 12 months now so I don't have to worry about it like next month.
Right.
And that's why, like, I've been forced to have debit cards where I'll put all of the money on there. And that's for these 2 subscriptions. That's the only reason why the card exists, because checking accounts are free, right? So that's the only reason why this account is open, is to pay those 2 bills that won't let me pay them for the year.
Right, exactly. So you got to have some auto pay stuff.
Yep.
We have a couple of things.
Yep. My Zoom is like that. Like I just want to give you guys all the money. So yeah, there's one card for Zoom.
They do have a yearly. I was just looking at it.
I just seen the pop up last night. It's like a 12% discount or something. Yeah,
because I was just telling Jason, I'm like, I was going through like, what do we have left? It's like, on these little $10, $12, $15 one. We've got stuff that's 99 cents because it's like Google storage, stuff like that. I'm like, we gotta just fix some of this, like odds.
Like stuff. My rent. Because of the apartment that I stay in, they laugh at me because I pay my rent like 3 months at a time.
Right. That's funny.
Like, what are you doing? I have no idea what I'm gonna be doing for the next 2 months. So I'm gonna give you all the money now. I got stuff to do. If I need a bigger investment, I know I don't have to pay rent. It's off the table. It's off my plate. So yeah, it's a thing for us.
You think they'd want to know, what do you do for a living that allows you to pay your rent?
They
ahead
know
of
I
the
don't
car?
work
They
a
probably,
traditional 9 to 5.
Dave
Like I
Sharp
told
told
them when
me
I was
that.
leaving.
Did they tell you, do they know what you do?
So the leasing office here does, yeah.
Because Dave Sharp was telling us once that his, I think he had hired a housekeeper.
Mm.
I think it was his housekeeper. And she was convinced he was a drug dealer because they don't go anywhere.
Right.
Right. They run the business out of their house. And then,
Yep.
but people do come over and leave and stuff. So she was like, he's like, I had to sit down, and because he was actually doing a training on communication and he felt like he hadn't communicated well enough to her. Right. So, but I do think people think that sometimes if they don't really
Yeah.
know you that well, like, oh, what are they selling drugs out of that house? They never
We
leave.
did not leave for a year because Kevin
Yeah.
did school virtual.
Right.
So it was like groceries were being delivered. Like, what do? You guys don't go outside, but all the bills are paid, and you shop a lot because like Kevin is going through growth spurts.
Mm-hmm.
So we would go shopping. Like I would have to buy his entire wardrobe all over again, all new jeans, shirts, right? Because of these growth spurts. And they're like, you don't go out like regularly except for to take him to school or something.
Right.
Your groceries gets delivered. Like you barely come downstairs for mail. And every time you do, it's a bunch of packages.
Right.
Like, why are you always shopping online?
Why? So, because we're on this like large rural property where there's a home in the front and then we're way in the back. And I do wonder if our neighbors are like, why is there an Amazon truck every other day in the driveway?
Yep.
Like, what the heck are they buying? Best thing for me that came out of COVID was grocery delivery. I was like,
yes.
I would always like, why can't we get our groceries delivered like we get our pizza delivered?
Well, the only thing I can't get delivered is like meat.
Yeah, does it bother you? Oh, because you want to pick it out yourself?
Like my meat and my produce.
Yeah.
If it's like pantry stuff, I can do pantry stuff. But like if it's not frozen meat, like frozen chicken or something like that, I have to go get it. If it's fresh meat from the deli or produce, like I have to go pick it out myself. But it's only a few stores that I go to anyway because they're close and I love their selection. But everything else can be delivered. Like, and when you have Amazon, me and my auntie were talking about this. We only have tissue delivered twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to go buy tissue every couple weeks. Okay, just send me the case and I'm good. Like my aunt is like that with water too. She has cases of water delivered.
Yeah, we are too.
And she sticks them in the basement and she's good for like half the year. I'm like, okay.
Let me tell you something. We were down at Walmart the other day. Not I wasn't. Jason was down there.
Mm.
They had no toilet paper except for some Cottonelle that looked like they just stocked. And it was completely empty shelves down there. Damn. I'm like, yeah. And we do too. We buy like that kind of stuff in major bulk. Yeah. But it's like, are we gonna go do that again? Are we gonna go through that again, or was it just Walmart? Because he ended up going to Pick and Save's another grocery store here. Yeah. So he stopped in there and they had toilet paper. So I'm like, well, he's like, what is going on down at Walmart? And he's like, literally it looked like, we're in the middle of the
beginning of the pandemic.
Yes, exactly. I'm like, let's not start that because there are other. It does make kind of funny, like you're stocking up on toilet paper. To get ready for the pandemic. There are other things that you might also want to stock up on.
Yeah, like maybe pasta, rice. I had so much rice. I think I could have fed my entire apartment building.
So funny.
Because I had different types of rice.
Yeah. Like
long grain rice, brown rice. I had because I don't keep the original containers for stuff. I use these for my pantry. So I have these in 3 different heights. So the really tall ones were just filled with pasta because I'm like, if worse comes to worse and we're not going out because of all of the restrictions, because they were so heavy in the beginning, I was like, we'll just eat a lot of pasta.
Yeah.
Like pasta sauce has a great shelf life, right? I'm not a fan of canned vegetables, but I grabbed a couple,
Right, because they're there at a pinch.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like the pasta and the rice was perfect because every type of pasta you could think. I was just like, I'm going to buy these just in case, just for let's figure out a recipe to make with them, like the stuffed tortellini even has a good shelf life when you buy the hard one instead of the refrigerator one. Like, it was nice.
I know it's funny how our Tuesday, Thursday show morphs into talking about pasta when we were talking about the vending machine, because you could have pasta in your vending machine. I'm going to pull it all together.
And we circle back.
Right. Exactly.
Full circle, you guys.
Oh my gosh.
That's what you get with two busy moms. We talk about mom stuff sometimes. We're prepared.
We are prepared. Mom stuff and like just we talk about a lot of stuff.
Right.
We were talking about the Oculus before we got on. So
because that is really fun. Come play Beat Saber with us. My name is Chrissy Pips on everything I do. Like, that game is so fun. It's kind of addictive. It's a really good workout. I did not want to initially do it standing up because even sitting down, my shoulders were getting a crazy workout. And it tells you like there's different things you can do. If you move your arms more, you get higher points for certain stuff.
Okay.
As opposed to just doing your wrists. I was just sitting on the couch flicking my little wrists and they were like new point advantage. I'm like, yeah. So it's fun. It's really fun.
Well, I'm probably going to be ordering mine today. So yes, we do still spend some money on some things.
We do. We need breaks too. We need brain breaks. You know,
Yep.
We have kids. We like
you gotta live life.
Kids. Yep.
One of the things that I'm not, I had said to myself, I'm not doing this time around. So I raised my kids single parents from pretty much their whole life, but for about 15 years, 14 years, depending on which kid you're talking about, I was in network marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to be home to take them to school, pick them up, have dinner together and stuff. However, looking back, I still missed out on more stuff with them by constantly in the evening hours being on things all the time. I'm like, I just, because it's like Monday morning quarterback, right? So I can look back and I'm like, just a lot of the time that I can't get back now because they're in their 20s and well, one of them's 30 now. Yes, I have a 30-year-old. So, and now that I let my hair go gray, now you can believe I have a 30-year-old. People used to not believe that. So anyway, like that's one of the things I've just learned now. It's like, you have to still live your life while you're building your business but you just have to be disciplined and make sure you get stuff done. I find that people who are busy are better at getting stuff done when they're already busy than people who's like, they come into the company, I'm retired, I got all the time in the world. And now you don't have to be as disciplined.
Right.
You got like all right. But if I say to somebody, I've got this letter, can you drop it off the post office? And they don't have anything else to do for the day. They may never get around to going out. But if you have someone who's been running around and they're busy, they're like, they schedule that in.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to stop and drop this thing up. So, this time around, I'm like, I'm going to make sure I've got this more evening time with the family. And all it means is shuffling things around, right? And making sure like that other things are done at a different time of the day. But it takes, if you want to think you can build 6 figures in a business or 7, if that's what you're going for, because discipline and consistency are absolutely key. Yeah. But you make your own schedule, but you still have to make the schedule and some people work really good on a rigid schedule. Some people don't, but you still have to make sure like you're getting things done consistently every day. And if you're doing a little bit every day to move forward in your business, even if you're taking Sundays off, but you just do that one little thing, like send out an extra email that day just to do something for the day, you're way ahead of the majority of people out there who don't do things.
Yep.
Like Christine and I don't feel good. We do more on a I don't feel good day than most people do on a great day.
We do more before noon,
right?
Than a bunch of people. Like one of the things that I've learned, and I'll say recently within like the past 6 months, is something called the Pomodoro method, where you're building your productivity, right? You're building the amount of time that you have to be productive. So if you have issues being productive for certain amounts of time, what it does is it has you sit down for 25 minutes and then take a 5-minute break. But during that 25 minutes, you've turned off and removed all distractions so that you
Yep.
can focus on just this one thing for 25 minutes. And then it talks about how your breaks can't be things that require a lot of brain power, right? A break actually needs to be relaxing a couple minutes away from the computer, walking around for a couple minutes, right? Before going back into work mode. Because the analogy that they use is, if I tell you that you're going to have to run for 1 hour on the treadmill, but I give you 30 minutes and then I give you a 10-minute break, and then you're going to have, you have to run for 30 more minutes. What are you going to do on that 10-minute break? Are you going to jump rope? Are you going to take an extra lap? Or because you have to start again, are you actually going to relax for a minute, get some water, let your body relax for a second, right? And most people's answer, like 99% of people's answer, is that they're going to relax because they know they have to kick it back into gear for 30 more minutes on the treadmill. And that's the same thing that happens with your brain. When you're taking that 25 minutes, you're taking that 5-minute break, you have to start again. So don't fill the break with stuff when you should be relaxing. That's actually your break time. So that's what I'm doing. It's doing it over time. I'm up to 45 minutes now. And I'm trying to get my 45 minutes to a solid hour without being interrupted or anything. So that definitely helps too.
It does help. And I'm sure you're being aware of, you're actually doing stuff that is producing. Well, because that's the other, you can trick yourself into thinking you're working when you're not.
Right. You're being busy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that 90% of the things we do don't produce stuff. It's only 10% of our activities actually produce. So it's what could you cut out and make sure you're doing it? And I love what she's doing, because there's been NASA studies that show that you can only this is the average person,
right?
So right, if you can only do intense focused activity for 90 minutes maximum,
right?
So if you're trying to do even longer than that, no matter who, if once Christy gets up to 90 minutes, it should be the maximum, because it's the studies show. And maybe she could do, maybe her brain is 60 and somebody else's is 2 hours, but the average is 90,
right?
And it's when you do 90 minutes of focused, intense activity for your business, where it's all income producing activities, that's it. No distractions. You don't take phone calls, text messages. Now, husband better not knock on the door unless he's dying of a heart attack and he needs you to call 911. You will be amazed what you could get done in 90 minutes a day. And that's all you did for your business. I know a top leader, I won't say who it is, who created his first 6 figures in 5 hours a week in record time, because it was intense.
Focus,
5 hours.
5 hours, yeah.
Yep.
As opposed to, and what it is when you're focused for that period of time, if you don't turn off your cell phone ringer, right? Even if you don't answer it, what happens is your brain goes through that. Now a piece of your attention is I wonder who that was. I wonder what they need. I wonder what that message was, right? I wonder if I need to get back to them right now. I wonder if it was urgent. And that's with me, with creating my focus time, when my phone's on do not disturb, the only people that can get through is the school. Because at this point, anybody else is
because you got to take calls from school. Could be your kid sick, right?
But that's it. The only people, and that's after that, you'll hear Alexa go off sometimes when I'm on calls and things. And it's because I have stuff scheduled. When I do team meetings, even, I don't like to be on longer than 30 minutes. Because it's my thing is catch the recording. If you need more, catch the recording, drop your questions underneath it, and the entire community can benefit from your questions. Or you can hop on our Wednesdays and get their questions answered, because we're still here, right? But it's to minimize the amount of time where I'm doing something that's not income producing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then I usually have 50 things on my to-do list of stuff that I want to get done, but doesn't need to get done. So if I want to get that call done, I'm going to make it as small as possible so that I can get some of the other things off the list. So It's definitely helpful because in my mind, if I get rid of all of the want things, then I have no choice but to do the need things.
Right.
So, yeah.
Wow. So we talked about a lot of stuff today. A
Yeah.
lot of stuff. And you know what? One of these mornings we can do a whole show and we can just talk about different things, that we do to because you are your own boss. So it's like you're
Yep.
the only person's gonna kick your butt is you, right? Your spouse might be trying to kick your butt if you're like married and you're in a house. And if you're really not producing and you've been away from your spouse for 2 hours and you didn't do jack, that's why they're mad at you about your network marketing business not making any
Right.
money. Because they're like, but you've been spending 15 hours a week in your office and there's still no check coming in. Well, are you going to admit to them that I maybe wasn't doing income producing activities while I was in the
Right.
office? But maybe one of these mornings we'll talk about tips and tricks for, I don't
You
call
want
it
to do
time
that next
management.
week?
Yeah, I call it choice management because I think
Right.
it's just choice management, really. Yeah.
We could do our superpowers next week.
Yeah.
Because, like, one of the things that I really am focused on this year is explaining to people some of the skills that I have are skills, and all skills can be built.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's only my specific genealogy that has this trait.
Right.
It's not like that. It's like, if you want to focus more, build the skill. If you want to be more productive, build the skill. If you want to be more creative, build the skill. So, yeah. So we could do our superpowers next week.
That would be awesome. And there's no better time to live in to learn things because there's an app for that. There's a
Yep.
website for it. There's a YouTube video. Like there's no excuses for not having the information to build any skill for
Yep.
free, actually. So,
Exactly.
all right. Well, we will see you back here on Tuesday then.
Exactly.
10
And,
a.m.
I hope you guys are having an awesome afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you are in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see you in the next video.
Right. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye, guys.